Good morning, everybody. We start this January 7, 2023 with Kitty going crazy. Now he goes to this ritual where he just, he goes and attacks things. Now he's going after this thing right here, which is a tree. So he thinks he's outside. He runs up behind the television in circles. Linda says, I need to play with him and throw things at him. And then he'll go into what's called the cat cave, which we built him. Well, we didn't build it, we found it. Now he's going for the blinds, which the blinds are protected by a scrim that my mom put up right there. That's what my mom did when she came into town. She put up a scrim. And there's artwork behind it, which this is found artwork here, which is found this in the trash. Same with this piece here. And here we go. And then pick him up. Let's go to this thing right here. And this is what he usually calls. And then earlier he was over there knocking things over, getting by the printer and jumping over. Oh, and he's going for the feet. Yeah, that's not a plaything. Oh, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to feed him something. There he is. This is what he does. Every morning, I wake up and he's doing this. So really, he's pretty good at dodging things on this area. He's like, this is kind of my work area. I used to have a desk at my other place, but this is mostly like an old phone. I have access to a few apps that I rarely ever use, but it does help me sometimes with like Google Home. So I can operate the back television with that thing. It's almost kind of like a remote. And then I have access to an app that I look at sometimes. This is Kitty Edmund Cassavetes, also known as Eddie Cassavetes. Last name is named after the famous filmmaker, John Cassavetes. And Edmund is the farmer's cat in a children's story I wrote that I still need to continue about squirrels, Mid-City Boulevard squirrels. The farmer's cat's name is Edmund. So he's named after a fictional character and a real filmmaker. So the cat's Eddie Cassavetes. So he does this. Sometimes he'll knock over that stapler, not always. See how he gets kind of cluttered? That's my Japanese mic stand. Oh, he got mad there. Right there, you can kind of see. That's my Japanese mic stand. It's from Japan, from a Japan store. I could set the phone on it, things like that. He knocked over this right here. So he'll just kind of do that, and he'll go back and forth. That's my laptop, which is a Dell. I've got a few screenplays on it, and Mid-City Boulevard Squirrels is on it, and maybe the sequel, and probably a few poems and things like that. And then I use it to access important stuff, and I can print it here. Documents and things like that. And I've got a couple headphones. I rarely ever use the back headphones over there because they were given to me by someone Linda knows. I don't really ever use them. I don't even know if they work. These I use sometimes when I'm editing. They're called, trying to find the brand name on them right there. Is the brand name. Sumi. They're Bluetooth. They're pretty good. Their battery life is, it could be longer battery life on these headphones. Then I've got a few headphones here. Headphones are kind of important because Linda likes to sleep and I'm watching TV now, and I went out and bought this thing right here, which is it's a voice activated remote, but you can plug it in right here and hear the TV. So the television virtually makes no sound other than what's in the headphones. And I'm watching a thing about Hemingway and Key West. And that goes there. And then I do a lot of editing here. I have some yogurt sometimes. I keep those headphones in this right here so he doesn't, sometimes he goes after the headphones. You see, he's really curious. Right here. There he goes, right there. He's wondering what's in there. So sometimes he gets handouts and things. We usually feed him 2 times wet food a day, and then we keep dry food out so he can snack when he wants to. And he has been fixed because my mom's adamant on making sure they get fixed. Not always the case, though. I had a cat named Romeo that looked very similar to Edmund. Oh! And Romeo had up to 20 cats. We had, my first wife and I, Sarah, at one time had about 20 cats. We had to get rid of about 16 of them to non-kill shelters. We lived in Crowley. And then he goes in here and likes to, oh, he's going after the feet again. The thing about Edmund is he has no inhibition when it comes to scratching you to get you out of the way. So you go up and you kind of touch him. I knew another cat that was similar named Skittles, which was my second wife's cat. And she would attack, and way worse than Edmund. So if you got this close, Skittles would make sure that you bled. Very mean cat. Edmund's a little scratchy. Some cats are, people don't realize. Depending on the cat. And some cats are docile. This one is a little aggressive. So he'll, see? So, you know, you walk by like this, there he goes. See, he'll let you know that you're there. So if you're walking, like here I am walking. Yeah, there he goes. He couldn't help himself. I had a cat named Mojo that I wrote about when I wrote Escape from Maine. And Mojo, and he's called Mojo Nixon in the story. In real life, he was only called Mojo. And Mojo was all black. He had one little spot on him, and he would never scratch you no matter what. You could pick him up and hold him upside down, and he would purr. He had no mean bone in his body. And he died in Maine. He got bit by either a squirrel got him or some rodent bit him. And the infection got so bad, they had to put him down. I think my mom spent hundreds of dollars on antibiotics trying to save the cat. And I had him since, see, probably 2005, and he probably died in Maine, in Abbott. Probably he died, maybe 2000, maybe 16 or 17. My mom would know, I'd have to ask her. And Romeo died here in Texas. He lived with my mother-in-law through my second marriage. So 2000, I guess maybe we got Romeo in 2005 in one marriage, and then I divorced in 2010, or close to 2011, I guess, really. And I kept Romeo until my second marriage in 2013. And then he lived with my mother-in-law. Now, he lived with me in Maine. So Romeo was with me till 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 here in Texas. And then he stayed with me when I left to Maine at the end of 2011, arrived in Maine in 2012. Romeo stayed with me the whole 17 months. And then when I returned, I married a second wife, and he went to my mother-in-law and stayed him and another cat named Skittles, who Skittles was a pretty mean cat. And Romeo stayed until probably maybe 2016 or 17. And I had 2 children. I had David and Elizabeth. And we moved Romeo to Johnson County, Texas, where Romeo lived, or moved in with a principal of a school. He's actually a retired principal and had his last few months there. They had a problem with feline irritable bowel syndrome. And it's not very friendly with cats. It's actually deadly with cats. And the principal said that he would get up in bed with him sometimes and lay in bed. And one morning, he woke up and Romeo wasn't around anymore. Just wasn't moving. And he buried him in the backyard. Looked a lot like this cat. This cat ran into this place. So he opened this door, he would just run in. Very strange. But I don't know if he's related to Romeo or not, but he looks a lot like Romeo. It's very strange. It's like Romeo's second coming. I didn't name him Romeo, though. I named him Edmund, so he has a new name. But it's not Romeo, but it looks similar. And the face, he has a different kind of face. It's known as a tuxedo cat. And they're domestic. And Romeo was rowdy, just like this cat. So it could be Romeo's. Romeo did live in this complex for a while. I lived here a few times. 2010 is when we first moved into, not this particular unit, but this complex. And then I lived here for 2 years and left in 2012, well, in the end of 2011, and then lived in Maine, and Romeo came with me. But we got Romeo in Crowley in 2005, and he was rowdy. He was very rowdy. His nickname was Rowdy, or his first name was Rowdy. And then he got the name of Romeo. So if he's related to Romeo, I don't know. But he ran to this unit and just ran inside as if he had already lived here. So we thought maybe he was a previous owner, a previous cat, lived with a previous tenant. Ow. We don't know. But it is strange because he could be related. And it's just as if he already had this home. It's like as if he already lived here. It's almost like familiar with it. But we live around a lot of strays. So it could just be coincidence. But we don't know for sure. Edmund Cassavetes. Right, kitty? Look at that tail. I like how they do the pole thing right there. They'll sometimes bend the pole. He knows I'm talking about him.